Oh my god. I completely forgot to hide it. But it's okay. Stuff is always bound to happen. Hello, everybody. I know I'm like super late, aren't I? Okay, maybe not that late. Just like a half hour. But yeah, like I said in my tweet, which a lot of you probably didn't see, I was busy getting stuff for future streams. So I've mentioned in the Discord, not really anywhere else, but I was like, I found like a bunch of my old stuff, like a lot of like beads and stuff and whatnot. So I was like, okay, what if I did like arts and crafts stream? Because I also had like some origami paper too. And some people were on board with it, so I was like, okay. So obviously I had to get more origami paper because I know we still have some left, but definitely not a lot. And the origami paper that I did have was like the long strips where you make like the little stars. So yeah, I didn't really have anything that I could make like other origami with, so I had to buy more of that. And then I had to get new gloves so it'd make it easier. Because with the gloves that I like usually use for my hand cam streams, they're too thick and bulky for nimble work like origami and beading. So that's why I was late. Man, I had to do a whole lot of walking today. My legs are like, enough. I want to rest. I deserve some rest. But I hope you guys are doing well today. I did say I was gonna start with like the bustafellows review first. But I'm also kind of like eating right now too, because I'm gonna be honest. I woke up today and I had absolutely no appetite. Like, literally, no appetite. And basically, I went through the entire day without eating a thing. Like, no, I'm serious, like, absolutely nothing. So, yeah. So I'll probably just like find something for us to like watch while I eat for a little bit. Cause I'm like dying a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. Actually, hold on. Alright, I didn't connect. Yeah, I didn't connect it. Whoops, my fault. Give me like a second. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is just just until I eat enough, so I'm not like visibly visibly dying. Because like you could probably hear it in my voice too. Man, I love it when I can't pin stuff in OBS. That sucks ass. That's so crazy that I can't pin it here. Oh, almost had a little bit of inception right there. All right. Let me. Yeah, I'll just skip ahead a little bit. Because as much as I love the yapping, we're here to watch. What the fuck is this game? What the hell? It looks so ridiculous. Honestly, this looks like something Tones would enjoy. I'm not gonna lie. What the hell? What is going on? What? Hello, Prismo. As the pin says, I'm just eating before starting the review. Because like I said, I didn't eat all day today. How you doing, Prismo? How you doing? Oh, I asked how are you? Oh yeah, the video's pretty much as loud as I am. Uh, Basically, I asked how are you? How are you doing, Prismo? So, I did not realize the video was that loud. Okay, I'm done eating. Now we can get on with the main part of the show. Why is my screen so dark? Wait, I was making sure. I'm doing great. I had a pretty good day. Ate a kebab, played some games. Now chilling here. Life is good. And honestly, that's the best we can ask for. That life is good. I'm very glad to hear it about me. That was good. And then, bodily pains decided they wanted to show up today, so I'm like, okay, so that's that. But we live, we live. So, I will be combining my Bustafellows review with today's yapping stream. Actually, you know what? If it does get bad, I'll just take the little medicine thing. But and thank you for that bet. Um, so yeah, I think this is like a trailer of Bustafellows. It is okay. It is not. I mean, it is, but broken for some reason. Imagine having like your trailer broken. That's crazy to think about. That's crazy. Guess we're going back to YouTube. All right. No, nope. We're not talking about two right now. All right. Fuck it. They keep talking about season two. Wow, 2021. That was ages ago. but but yes, that was trailer of it. So as you can probably guess, the main girl, her Japanese name is Teuta. I forgot what it is in English that they made it to, but yeah, Teuta is the main girl, and she gets to choose from five lovely men to fall in love with. Okay. This is a wholesome crime story. I mean, I guess it's as wholesome as a crime story can get. Um, yeah, I'm just thinking, they're like, yeah, it's a wholesome crime story. I'm like, I mean, I guess. Because it does touch on like some topics, I will say that. Um, like, one topic is, what is it? Basically, I don't know. I feel, well, actually, you know what? My stream does have a mature tag on. It's okay. I'll be okay. So basically, there's like this underlying problem of human trafficking in New Siege. I think that's how you pronounce it, Siege. I don't know. So yeah, that's like always like the underlying problem within like all of the roots, basically. Well, or most of them. But yeah, it's always something that's brought up. Um, so yeah, so think like undocumented immigrants and stuff like that. So yeah, they bring these people over, force them to do God knows what, because they can. The people who obviously brought them to New Siege, 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 she, whatever. But we'll pretend I know how to say it. I think from this point on, I'll just call it NS. Call it a day. So let's get to the characters. So you heard of like a whole bunch of names. So we'll just get started with the main girl. She's a journalist, so she's just not like some random girl they meet out in the street. Like she does have a job. Um, and she also has the power to rewind time, but to like a certain limit. I don't know what the limit is, but obviously they do mention that she can't go back like an entire day, which is good because, like I said, that seems pretty overpowered. And anytime she goes back in time, obviously it takes a toll on her body because, again, messing with time is something you should not be doing and it should be punished. um, right, as it says here, she had a brother who was murdered, but in the visual novel they do explain that I think they said her brother um was part of the police, and then after seeing like so much like bad shit going on, that he just like cracked or something and like turned to drugs and like got involved with gangs and stuff like that, which then resulted in him being murdered. Um, her brother Z- Zola, I believe it was. Yeah, Zola. Um, Another part of his thing is that his entire body wasn't recovered actually. Um, it was like part of it. Um, I will get into that a little bit more because I will be going into like my first route and who I got and whatnot. But I just want to, briefly talk about the characters. Now, Hilda, this girl, in the beginning, I liked her. You know, she has motivations separate from the dudes. She has her own dreams and goals and whatnot in life. But then it's like, at least in like two of the routes, I guess. I don't know. But it just really felt like she was not, you know, her anymore, if that makes sense. Because like how like I said, she had her own dreams and motivations and stuff like that. I feel like after like a certain point, she just felt like, a typical um otome a protagonist who's just, there to fall in love with guys. And I'm like, I think it's mostly because she just made some really stupid choices that I'm sitting here like, nobody in their right mind would do that. Um, so yeah, like okay, fine, whatever. So yeah, after initially liking her, towards the end of me finishing it, I wouldn't say I dislike her, but I definitely do not think highly of her. Um, let's see. Then we have, honestly, it really doesn't matter who we start with. We might as well start with Limbo. So, Limbo's a lawyer. Well, a crooked lawyer. So, it's not like he does anything for money, like that kind of crooked. It's more like, or maybe he does. It's not mainly about money. Like, how like in most depictions of like crooked lawyers, like if you pay them enough that get you um they'll get you acquitted and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, or get somebody jailed or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's not what he does. He does what he thinks is right. So yeah, that's basically it. So that's why he's considered crooked because he may think that, somebody who's obviously guilty was clearly in the right and will sit there and do whatever he can to get them acquitted of like their charges and whatnot. So yeah, it's not about money, it's about his personal morals and justice and whatnot. Which, did make him a little bit interesting, I will say that. Um Let me see, if I had to really think, out of everybody's, I think his was like oh jeez. If I had to like rank everybody's stories from like most to least interesting, I would say his would be like uh 4 or 5. Not like talking in terms of like how bad it was. Like I'm just saying like in terms of like interest, you know. Ugh, jeez. I feel like I'm not making sense here. Basically, the ranking that I'm like giving him is not like out of, oh, I think he's like a bad character, or that, oh, his story was like so boring and put me to like sleep. Just, out of like sheer interest. So then we have Helvetica. I will just state it right now. I do not like Helvetica. But that's mainly because he is the love interest stereotype that I do not like the most. Um, that stereotype being, well, it's two of them actually, but they can technically be, the same thing. The playboy type and the flirty type. So it's like not all flirts are playboys, but all playboys are flirts, if you get what I mean. So yeah, he's like the very flirty type, and like I said, if any of your characters are gonna be like that, whether like a playboy or a flirt, I'm just gonna automatically dislike them because that kind of person to me just seems like insincere, you know. I know that sounds like really harsh and whatnot, but like that's just how I feel. Um, so yeah, his thing is that he is actually a what is it? A plastic surgeon. Um, Honestly, it'd probably just be easier if I talked about them while getting into their roots. So I might as well just do that instead. So I'll go with my first playthrough route, before I knew everything. Well, not everything, but you know what I mean. So my first route was actually Mozu, who I actually really wanted. So I was like really happy. I was like, oh my god, I got his route. I was like really really happy because like out of all the guys, I think I liked Mozu the most. Like he's the one that I vibed with the most. And apparently there's, all right, I don't know if you guys remember when I was like asking you guys in the Discord about, who's to judge and whatnot. Like I said, that whole who to judge thing was actually from this game because the Dr. Solly, he was he's starting to like delve into like criminal psychology to like help out with like the police and whatnot. So yeah, it was from this, but there was also another part. So it was kind of like a in quotes personality quiz, which would essentially like tell you what route you would go on. So that took like a lot of trial and error to like get everybody who wasn't Mosu. Guys, like every time I would like try to switch it up, I would end up with Mosu, and I'm like, okay. I mean, thank you for telling me that he's my type, but I'm trying to get to the others here. So yeah. So he was my first playthrough and my first route. So as you can see here, he is an autopsy specialist or coroner. Um, and yeah, as it says here, often misunderstood as apathetic and indifferent, but it's mostly because like he's very, what's the word? Like think of like a person who's like, think of like people who work out a lot and they like say like a lot of like um workout things. So it's kind of like him. Like he looks at things from like a medical kind of standpoint. Cause there comes this one point in the story. I don't know why they included that. I will never know why. But there's like a swimsuit scene. You know what? I understand. It's Japanese. Come on now. Who am I kidding? Um so yeah, there's like this one swimsuit scene and um Limbo's sister, and the owner of a place that the people frequent, um, they came over to like have like a little pool party or something like that. And again, depending on whose route you're on, they ask that specific guy like, "Oh, what's the kind of swimsuit you'd like? You like something like that?" Yeah. And then they essentially like buy it for Deuta to wear for, the guy to see. So when I was doing his route, they obviously asked him, and um Valerie, Limbo's sister, was like, "So what do you think, Mozu?" He's like, "Yeah, it really does bring out like her skeletal structure." And I'm like, "Okay." Like that's how much he views things from like a medical standpoint. So much that he would like recommend a swimsuit for a girl based on her skeletal structure. And like I think the first time when he met her as well, he was like, "Oh, you have nice eye sockets," or or something like that. I'm like, "What?" Like, oh my god. But it's like, it happens, sometimes you get so into your work that you just, yeah. And then it's also like at times where it's like you think you'd be strict about things because like because I forgot whose route I was doing. I think I was doing I haven't mentioned him yet. Where is he? Scarecrow. I think I was doing his route. And you know how you usually do when you're out shopping, and sometimes you push off from the back of the cart and like wheel down the aisle on it. So you would think, oh, he'd sit there, what's the word? Scold, yeah. You think he would scold them because again, he is also kind of that kind of serious person. But he just he just goes and says, "Honestly, I would have been able to like kick off faster than you because of my body size." And I'm like, "I love you." So yeah, he has his little moments where it's like, "Oh, okay." And he's also a really good cook too. Like that's like his main thing. Well, not his main thing, but like one of the things he's good at. And I'm like, "Ooh, I like me a man who can cook." Part of that is because they lost. I mean, I said they. I forgot to mention he does have a sister. Um, I will be getting into that a little bit more. Um, but yeah, so him and his sister lost their parents at a young age, so obviously he became the main caretaker of her, which meant he would have to cook for her and whatnot. So that's how he got good at it. So then moving on more into the root, um, the root doesn't really like start to like um separate from like the common root until like chapter 4. Yeah, I want to say like chapter 4. Um, and that's pretty much like at the end of the game, which is crazy to think about, but hey, that's how they decided to structure their game. Um, so yeah, chapter 4, it's different for everybody, like completely different. Um, so it gets mentioned a few times that Mozu is looking for his sister who disappeared like a year ago, and that's basically what his entire chapter 4 is. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. Um, so yeah, he's been looking for her for a year. But the thing is that he does mention that he believes that she might be dead. Because I mean, it's been a year and literally like nobody has even seen like a hint of her. Yeah, probably dead. So you end up going to the school that she used to attend to because of actually I forgot the reason why you went there in the first place, but then I think maybe it might have been about that kid who unfortunately um died. I won't really go into much details about um that, but that's essentially how you guys end up there. And then you and Mozu start to investigate, like what's going on here. Why are students suddenly like disappearing and dying? Um, so then it turns out that, I didn't mention this before, but there's this organization that's very big and like has like a lot of like connections and stuff everywhere. I think it's called I'm probably gonna pronounce this wrong because I believe it's a little bit of Spanish, but it's like Rui Lopez, something like that. I don't know if I pronounced that right. My bad. It's Ruy then Lopez. So yeah. So it turns out the reason why all these students were like disappearing and like turning up dead is because of that organization. Because they had somebody on the inside at the school doing it for them. Um, and unfortunately, um, Mozu's thoughts were confirmed that his sister was dead, and she was she wasn't like how to explain it. It wasn't a natural death. Like it wasn't like she had like an illness or anything. She was essentially like locked up and left there, and obviously she couldn't get out, so she essentially starved to death or died of dehydration, whichever one came first. So yeah, and that was basically Mozu's route. Obviously, there was stuff in between, you know, getting closer to him, getting to know more about him, but that was basically like the the crux of like his route. Um, and basically like just trying to find out what happened to his sister. And then there's like a an epilogue, so to speak, but all that really is just like how things are with your chosen guy after everything in chapter 4. That's pretty much it. And then obviously, I had to go back. I had to go finish more of it. Um, so second person I ended up with was unfortunately Helvetica. Because I was trying to get to Shu here, but I didn't. Sucks, but hey, that's life. And like I said, the the common route pretty much goes up until like chapter 3. So basically it's the prologue, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, which is also side A for whichever chosen guy you have. And then it's side B for the chosen guy that you get the good ending for. Yes, there are good and bad endings, of course, it's a visual novel. Well, a standard one, I should say. So, next I got Helvetica. I was really upset. Well, not really upset, but I was really groaning about it. Now, obviously, I could have just like um tried again to get Shu, but I was like, you know what? I'm probably gonna have to end up doing this anyway, so I might as well get it over with. Um, so as you guys know, Helvetica is a plastic surgeon. Um, it also says here that he's like a specialist at changing his appearance, which is true because again, like I said, he's a plastic surgeon. So he's like the guy you go to if you want to like um have somebody disguised on the inside or something like that. Um, and as I mentioned before, he's a flirt. He likes to flirt with women. Um, and his story was actually pretty interesting. I don't know why they always, well, not always, but sometimes they do that with like flirts. They make them like these flirty people, but then give them like these like horrible like backstories, and I'm like, what? Whoa, okay. Um, so his whole thing is that, so there's this area in NS that um is basically like the bad area. I don't know how else to explain it. So basically, like think of like where all, like the drug dealers, the um what's the word? Not poor, like less than that. Destitute, I guess. So yeah. Just think of like all that kind of stuff. That's what Black Hawk is. And he's actually from there. He Helvetica was actually one was trafficked as a child, surprisingly. I'm like, oh, okay, we're going here now. Okay. like I think I think his story and Shu's story kind of like battle a little bit for like first place in terms of like how interesting it sounds. Um, so yeah. That's what I hate. That like his story is so good, but man, why do you have to be a flirt? So yeah, that's what you find out in like I suppose like leading up to like chapter 4 and stuff like that. That he was from Blackhawk, and he used to get into like all the stuff as a kid, because um the people are brought over here to do like I said, all the sorts of stuff for the people that brought them there, dealing drugs, stealing things, killing people, you name it. They have to do it because that's basically all the life they know. Because they also mentioned like uh because there's somebody else in the game that's also like part of the Rui Lopez organization, and she also mentioned like how it was. So basically, like they put these people in like these big crates, obviously, and have them shipped over, and like people would obviously get sick and they would die, and they would be stuck in those crates with those people who are sick and dying, well, sick or dead. And this said, Irina, the lady who's essentially explains most of that to you, she says that's basically what they do to like keep them from trying to like fight their way out. And it also like creates bonds between the people, um, so that there's less of a chance of them trying to flee on their own or something like that. I'm sorry, I forgot some of the stuff that she said, but yeah, that's basically what happens, and it's probably still happening in NS. But and so yeah, the same thing happened to Helvetica. Um, he was in a crate with a bunch of people, and some people died, and as a result, him and some of the other kids in the crate built a bond together and became like a group of sorts. But then you don't find like all this out until like later, because like I said, you really don't get into like any of their stories until like chapter 4. So that's when you find out, oh, from Black Hawk, he was part of a little group that dealt in drugs and did all these errands and stuff like that. And he honestly couldn't remember any of it because he was addicted to drugs. And obviously that's a result because of where he was growing up and stuff like that. It wasn't uncommon for kids to be hooked on drugs and whatnot, but like he was like heavily on it, so much that like literally his brain like could not like physically remember anything from his past except the stuff that Dr. Sully told him. And you also do find out that Dr. Solly is Helvetica's legal guardian, or was, considering he's like old now, and legal custody ends at like a certain age. um, where did I leave off? Oh god. When you yap too much and get off on a tangent, you forget where you are. Uh, right, right. So that's where I was. And so obviously, now that he's older, now that he's doing better, obviously the past is gonna come back and visit you. And that is in the form of one of the people that was part of like his little group back when he was a kid. So she comes back and she's obviously upset that, he's able to move on and live a better life and she can't. Um so the whole story with that is that I think there was like four of them, including Helvetica. Um and obviously, kids being stupid kids. They were drinking a lot, um, doing drugs and stuff like that. And then I think like one of them accidentally like set fire to a place. And obviously they got scared because they're kids. Um, and they made a break for it. But Helvetica, he was like, wait, we can't just leave. Um, because I think the girl, I forgot her name, but it started with a M, so I'll just call her M. But yeah, he's like, wait, guys, M is still up there. We need to go get her. Because she was passed out, I guess, from like drinking too much or whatever. Yes, I am talking about underage drinking. Um, and the other two were like, bro, what is wrong with you? We don't have to do that. Like, every man for himself. But, obviously, Helvetica wasn't having it. And so, those two beat up on him and, like, left him for dead in, like, a pile of trash in an alley, while M was still left in the burning building. And, um, as a result, everything was pinned on her. She went to jail. The two dudes got off scot-free, and Helvetica was left, out there in the cold to die, but was picked up by Dr. Solly and given a new life. Right? Doesn't all that sound really interesting? Like, to like just eventually learn about a character. That's what makes me so upset. That like, man, such a great story, but I can't like you because you keep flirting with anybody and everybody. Again, that's just me. That's just a me thing. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people out there who love their flirts. And so then, like I said, the past comes back to visit. So M comes to visit him, sees that he's doing well, is upset about it, and starts threatening him. And then it really gets to a point where she's like, I am not happy that you're happy. You should be miserable like me. And then, it all comes to a point. Um, Helvetica ends up, you know, trying to, settle things between the two of them. Um, is that enough for her? Obviously, because why would it be? She had to deal with, jail time and a burnt face. Trust me, it looked really bad. It looked really bad, that poor thing. Um, and then after like, the whole stuff, goes on, dies down. I think it was I forgot who it was. I want to say it was Dr. Solly. Um, whoever it was, they told him, from here on out, you have to decide who you're going to live as. Are you going to live as your past self? I'm not going to reveal his past name. I know I said, I don't care about spoiling, but I think that's one thing I won't say. And so, yeah, you have to choose between your past self or who you are currently, Helvetica. Now, obviously, like I said, I didn't really give a damn about Helvetica. I ended up getting the bad ending that where he ends up, going back to his old self. And yeah. So obviously the good ending would be that he decides to stay as Helvetica and embrace his new life, but still, accepting the past, and you know, whatever people do with the past and whatnot. So yeah, that was Helvetica's route. It was really good, honestly. It was really good. Unfortunately, I did not get the good ending because, like I said, I didn't really care about Helvetica, and I did tell myself that I needed to, at least try and get it before um I did my review. As you can clearly see, I did not. So yeah, I can't really talk about what happens if you get the good ending. I assume, like I said, he stays as Helvetica and he tries to, not forget his past, where he came from, while trying to, live his current life or whatever. Oh, and then I had to go back a third time. And then the third time I got Scarecrow. So, as you can see here, he claims himself to be an underground boss. His main thing is hacking, so anything you need hacked, he can do it. Any information you need to search up, he can do it. So he's the tech guy, basically. As bad as that is to say, he's the tech guy. Um, and obviously, because he's so good at it, he has connections to people and places. But um, I guess his was decently interesting. Now that I'm actually really thinking about it, like I kind of wish they touched on a certain aspect of it a little bit more, but again, they focus a lot of attention in like the common root chapters 1 to 3 and didn't really leave a lot of room for, you know, telling their stories. Like they did. I'm not saying that they told like incomplete stories, but like I felt like some stuff could have been, talked about a little more. But again, that's just me. So Scarecrow, his whole thing is that he's easily flustered. Um, because he's been like, um, actually, you know what? I think it'll make a whole lot more sense if I like explain it. So obviously, when he first meets like Teuta, the MC, the main character, main girl, whatever you want to call her, um, he's all shy and stuff, but that's because he's been like hacking most of his life, so his social skills are like not great. Um, let me see. I don't know what he was like. Well, he did explain what he was like before he became who he is now. I think he was like very arrogant. I think he explained how he was arrogant, egotistical, things like, oh, nobody can touch me and stuff like that because at the time he pretty much was the best hacker there ever was. Um, besides his dad. That will come later, his whole dad thing. Um, but obviously now he's not anymore. I mean, I meant like in terms of like the personality, like arrogant, full of himself, stuff like that. Now he's like a shy guy who, you know, just enjoys the simple things in life and whatnot. Still enjoys like, doing like the hacking stuff and whatnot for his friends. Um, so yeah, that was just basically to explain um him. And then at a certain point, we find out that like oh, is it, because I'm also trying to like figure out like what it is specifically. Like I don't know if it's like water just being splashed on his head, Because like if you think of it like that way, then like wouldn't it like act up if he's like taking a shower or something? Um, I guess it depends on the situation then. But essentially, if like let me look it up. Hold on, wait. Hold on, let me look it up. Because I know when I look it up, it's gonna give me the definitions for the other thing. Okay, good. It's not showing the other one. So basically, he was tortured in the past with waterboarding. Um, so I feel like if he feels like any kind of similar sensation to that, um, he kind of like, I guess for lack of a better word, switches in personality and essentially goes from, the happy-go-lucky sweet guy to ready to kill you. And that happens like a few times in the story. Again, not by choice, just by situation. Um, so the first time it happens, he ended up like um breaking like a fish tank only because he was thrown by somebody. Um, I will talk about them when I talk about Shu. So I actually was surprised to learn like their actual identity. Um, but yeah, and as a result, bro was like, "Yo, excuse me, how dare you threaten my life?" And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you acted different." He was like, "Huh? I did?" So it's kind of like he doesn't really like. Because when he explained it, he was like, "It's kind of like I'm watching it from like third person, basically. Like it doesn't feel like it's me right there." Is what he said. Um, and when I was like reading all this, I was like, "Oh, maybe it's like the dissociative identity disorder, which was formerly known as multiple personality disorder." I was like, "Oh, maybe it's that." But obviously we have a doctor here, Mozu, and Mozu was like, "It's similar to that, but not that," you know. So it's basically like um his body's way of protecting himself, I guess. That makes sense. Kind of like how your brain represses like trauma and stuff like that. So that's essentially what his body is doing because obviously, um, waterboarding is like awful. I'm not even like gonna even try to like joke about that, but like yeah, it's awful. So I can kind of understand why he'd like suddenly just not not like want to take that. I don't know what he did in the past to get out of it, but that's what he does now. And um right. Like I mentioned, he was like a really great hacker, but he was also like employed by like an organization. I know it's always organizations. But this one's different from Rui Lopez. Um so yeah, he was employed by somebody else and as a result he created like a citywide blackout that affected like a lot of people. Um and because of that, he decided, you know what I did was actually horrible and I need to get away from these people. Obviously, they're not gonna let you leave alive, but he ended up faking his death. I forgot who helped him, but yeah, he faked his death, and that's how he is here now, constantly staying indoors in his place. Because God forbid they find him outside. Um, Trying to like think, because it's been a while, so I can't remember like everything. And then he mentions like, oh, there's like this fellow hacker that helps him out sometimes. And surprise, surprise, that fellow hacker turns out to be his dad, who he thought was dead this whole time. Um, well, at least that's what the organization told him. I think when he left or something, that they were gonna kill his dad, and he thought that they did. But nope, his dad is very much alive. And that's when we um first meet the guy I will introduce in a bit once I get past Limbo and talk about Shu, because Shu was the last person I did. Right. Like I was trying my best to get to Shu and it took me four dudes before him. So yeah. That guy was also part of their organization. Well, I'm pretty sure he was like hired or something. I don't know. But yeah. Um he will come up again, so keep him in mind. Um and then obviously the organization can't let them live because they want to like defect and stuff like that. And now that they have both of them, they're like, you know what, we might as well get rid of them. And that's what the guy I mentioned before was for. So he basically lured Scarecrow. Um, and obviously he gets kidnapped and put with his dad, and uh, no, brain, why are you buffering right now? And essentially they are put on a train ride to death. I know that sounds bad, but that's literally what happens. They literally get put on a train, rolling, zooming towards doom. Uh, I know I didn't really like talk about like how the MC uses like her rewind power, but again, it's not too relevant. I mean, obviously, yeah, I don't think it's too relevant. Basically, she just goes back in time to like stop bad stuff from happening. Like, uh, like as you saw in the trailer, she went back in time to, prevent Limbo from being killed, which is how she gets involved with their group. And then I think it's chapter 2. She goes back in time to keep a kid from shooting an adult. Um, I could go into that story, but it's honestly like pretty standard, I guess. So basically, the kid's father was employed by Roscoe, the adult he ends up shooting. Um, and the kid Eddie ends up finding out, oh, Roscoe killed his dad. So you know how it usually be. They want to get revenge, avenge their parent or whatever, and that's what he ends up doing. Um, and then Shu does say something about it, because I forgot what happened, but basically I think somebody asked him, what does it feel like to take a life or something like that, and he was like, oh, it does not feel great. It hangs off of you like forever, because as we saw before, she was a hitman who hunts other hitmen. Um, yeah, but something about like it just never gets easier. It always feels bad or whatever, or something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but yeah. And so then, she goes back in time. Um, you warn somebody about it happening, and then it gets prevented. And then the next time she goes back in time, it was to prevent her best friend from dying. Now, that one, I still have like a little bit of iffiness with. Like, so what happened was that her best friend is like digging too deep into something, and so her superior decides to take her out quietly. Obviously, only the player knows that, nobody else does. Um, so she goes back in time to, prevent her best friend from getting shot and killed by her superior. But again, she doesn't know it was her superior. Um, and oh, that's another aspect of her rewind power. She doesn't know who she's going to end up as in the past. So basically, when she rewinds time, she ends up in somebody else's body. I thought that was a little interesting gimmick to add in. So this time, she ends up in the body of a doctor, and a nurse comes up to her, and she's like, doctor, we need you to come to the ER right now so you can operate on this person. And Teuta is like, yeah, but can I like just make a phone call real quick? And so obviously the phone call results in her best friend living, but as a result of that, um, she negatively affected both the patient and the doctor's lives. I forgot what happened with the doctor. I think they like put them on like probation or something. I can't remember. And the patient, unfortunately had to have their leg amputated because it could not be saved because she decided making that phone call to her best friend save her life was more important than helping that person in the ER. And that's why, like I said, I'm not like the biggest fan of that one because, like, again, I understand it's your best friend, you don't want them to die, but at the same time, you like heavily affected like two people's lives. Like, this doctor probably had like a pretty great record of being like the best doctor, and now because of your little stunt, this is going to be a blemish on their record forever. And this person probably could have still had both of their legs. But now they only have one because you went ahead and decided, yeah, I'm going to just, quickly call my best friend and tell her not to go. Now, like I said, I understand both sides, but I can't get behind that one. I can't. And then obviously she goes back in time again in chapter 4, but again, that's just for like um pushing the route along, I guess. This doesn't really, I mean, I guess it does matter in some of the routes. I can't remember. Because I know in Mozu's, um, it did help save somebody's life. What about Helvetica's? Helvetica, the rewind one, it just basically, instead of him going off and getting like exploded in a building along with some firefighters, he ends up in front of M at the pier instead. And then with scarecrows, yeah, scarecrows, it saved their lives, him and his father, because they only had like one chance to like send a message before like they lost like the signal. Because like I said, they're on a train which is underground, so there's like no signal. So they only had like one spot for like a few seconds. So obviously he sends it to her, she gets it, she goes back in time, and then depending on what you do, you either get it or don't. Um, I mean, you get the message regardless. I meant like if you know what I mean. Basically, it decides whether you get the good or bad ending. So yeah, that's basically what she does with her rewind power. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of Scarecrow's route. So depending on what you do with the information, you either get the good route save his life and his father's, or I guess you don't, and you let that hang over your head for ages. My goodness. I do not have my water. Let me go grab that real quick. Oh, okay, that was actually pretty good. Oh god, it's like really cold. That was mostly because I had it when I was outside. So, then the next route we get into is Limbos. Um, so his route was basically. Sorry, I'm trying to remember. Oh, so as you guys know, he's a crooked lawyer, and because of it, it's impacted people. So that's basically the entirety of his route. Limbo having to deal with like somebody's hatred for what he did some years ago. Um, so going back to what I was talking about. So Limbo, he had he was friends with a fellow lawyer, and they were like investigating something together. And then Limbo found out that that guy had essentially purchased people that were humanly trafficked. If that's a word, I don't know. Humanly trafficked. But yeah, essentially that's what he did. And at the time, Limbo was like, "Oh, I can't get behind that. I have to report you." And so he does. And as a result, the lawyer dude loses his, license and whatnot. Um, and I think so. Basically, he bought a woman and her child, and oh, now it makes sense. Now, maybe the child was unborn. Yeah, I think maybe. I think the child was unborn because I remember the dude shouting he would have been 6 by now or something like that. So I'm assuming either the child was unborn or like very young at the time when he like purchased her and her son from whoever was trafficking them. And so ever since then, the dude has held a grudge against Limbo. I'm like, oh, like that's a very hard thing. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like, yeah, it's awful that they're being trafficked and whatnot, and like he was basically trying to get them out of that situation. The other lawyer guy, but it's also like it doesn't really make you look good though if it's like found out that you purchased somebody. But past Limbo wasn't really looking at it from like that kind of perspective and whatnot. He's just like, oh, to me, my current self, this is a bad thing. Therefore, I'm going to bring you to justice. And so, yes, this person comes back. They act all friendly and whatnot, and then you slowly start to see that they have bad intentions for Limbo and start threatening, oh, if you don't, um, and starts plotting and stuff like that and gets the MC involved. Tota, what did I say? Tota? Yeah, Tota. Starts getting her involved in his plans with Teuta realizing, obviously. Um, until like later on. Uh, I think I did end up getting both bad and good ending for Limbo because I did kind of fuck up. So, like I said, it's kind of like that moment where like whether you do it right or wrong. Um, so I ended up doing like the wrong one. So like I was pretty okay, I guess, going along, and then I just made that wrong choice. So yeah, and like the stuff that he does just continues to like get worse and worse. So in the bad ending, um, after telling him to like leave, he does come back and basically like he first kills Limbo. So he shoots him, and then afterwards, while you're trying to like keep Limbo alive, he shoots Teuta, the MC, and then offs himself. And everybody's just like, what the fuck? Like everybody on the sidewalk is like, what the fuck is going on? But again, you can also understand like, why he would do that because he lost somebody important to him because he also said that he was in love with that woman that he purchased. And I mean, I don't doubt that. I don't think he would just for like the sake of it. But so yeah, essentially he was like, "All right, you take away the person I love. I'll take away both your life and the one you love." I'm like, "Okay. Okay." Bro's crazy. So obviously I had to go back. So I went back, um, let them do like their little thing or whatever. I don't even remember how it ended. Oh, right, right, right. So they did meet up for like one final time. And then it turns out that he put like these nanobots inside the glasses they were drinking from, and they both had like poison or something in them. And if he like pressed a button on like his phone or something, they would release it and like kill the person. And so his whole thing was like, all right. So he tells Tuta, to head into that room and like recreate the scene. Yeah, there was a scene that happened because, like I said, obviously the woman lost her son, and you know, grieving people, especially grieving parents, can like, you know, slip into really bad places, and that's what she did. And she ended up offing herself, unfortunately. And so he essentially wanted to recreate that scene that the woman did all those years ago. Um, and so thank you for the hydrate. And I do see the stretch. I'll do that in a bit. Um, so yeah. And so he's like, so recreate that, which means she would have to, off herself to Uta. So he's like, either you do it, you off yourself, or I will release the toxins that are in the nanobots that are currently inside of Limbo and kill him. It's so it's just that situation where she's like, I don't want to die, but I also don't want him to die either. So obviously she goes back in time. She ends up in the body of a kid. Um, so she ends up calling the guys. She's like, so guys, here's what's happening. And they're like, the only way for him to get out of this is if we kill him. I'm like, okay. No, no. Keep in mind. Obviously, they're not gonna let the dude stay like dead. So basically, Mozu came up with what is it? The plan. He was like, basically, we have to temporarily kill him. So he said there was like a way to do that. I forgot what it was, but yeah, basically, it'd be like you'd be dead. That way, the nanobots can't be activated because it activates um into a living thing, I guess. I forgot what it was. But yeah, that's basically the whole thing. So then they come and rescue her, and then the dude finds out that she's been rescued, she's been helped, and he's like, oh, okay, since he didn't do that, I'm gonna release the toxins inside his body. And he's like, oh my god, why is it not working? Because again, um, Limbo had essentially died and then come back to life. Therefore, the nanobots couldn't activate. I really forgot what the specifics were. I really wish I remembered what they were. Basically, think of it like the nanobots are tied to that living organism. So if that living organism dies, so do they, I guess. And they won't come back, I guess. Something like that. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But obviously, we can't have happy endings. So obviously, the guy's like, he says whatever he says, and then offs himself, and I'm like, damn, damn. But I will say I do feel bad for them. The dude, the woman who had lost her son, because again, it's not like they're asking to be trafficked and whatnot. It's just all around bad. So I do feel for them, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Alright, I'll get to your stretch now. Oh, goodness. Thank you for the stretch. And then lastly, Shoes Root, the one that I wanted and didn't end up getting until last. So, the hitman who hunts hitmen. Of course, obviously, that's going to be an interesting story. Um, so he has this list essentially from his teacher, which I will get into later because there actually turns out to be some twists and whatnot towards the end that I wasn't even expecting. Um, so yeah, he had this list left by his teacher of like hitmen to kill. Um, so basically, he's killing hitmen that only do it for the money. And yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, but I will say that, he did grow up with somebody by his side. So basically there was Teach, as he calls her, or her name is like Tyra something. I already forgot the last name. I think it was like Olin or something. I can't remember. So yeah, so there was Teach, and there was Shu, and then there was another one named Yang. Now, um, obviously, in true bustafellows fashion, true bustafellows fashion, Teach is killed. Shu thinks it was Yang, and that's how he's been living life, trying to hunt down Yang, who he believes to have killed Teach, and while still completing her list. So then Yang comes back because, like I said, the past always comes back. It always does, which is why I always urge people, try not to do bad things in the past, because it will come back to haunt you. It really will. And so Yang's like, okay, I need your help. Um, this person is on the list. Um, the hitman closer is on the list, according to Yang, and they're trying to assassinate the prime minister, I think it was, but somebody important. They do end up getting assassinated, and no amount of rewinding time is going to change that. Um, and she ends up getting, what's the word? Played, I guess, by Yang. Yang was the one who wanted the um political figure dead. So yeah. The reasons are explained later, which I will obviously get to. Um So everybody's like, oh no, we can't have Shu in jail and whatnot. So they plot, get together and get Shu out. And now Shu's like, you know, trying to, find Yang and whatnot. Um, and then while Teuta, Teuta is, going about her day, she ends up meeting Yang and they end up talking. And so she asks, why did you frame Shu for the murder and whatnot? And Yang was like, because I wanted to keep him safe, because I am hunting the hitman closer, because closer is hunting Shu. Right, right. It's like, whoa. So yeah, she was being hunted by Closer, who's like a very notorious hitman who does anything for money. Um, and Yang basically just wanted Shu to be safe and out of Closer's reach. And so obviously, Teuta can't keep a secret for her for the life of her. Goes back and tells Shu everything that she heard from Yang, and she was like obviously conflicted. Um, I don't know. Was that also the point where? Oh yeah. I think Yang also tells her like what actually happened. So like that Yang didn't. Like they saw somebody um he'll teach and they like took like some chess piece from her pocket and that's when like Shu came back and saw and assumed that it was Yang. So obviously like I said she tells him that and so Yang is now conflicted like oh well this whole time I was hunting down Yang because I thought it was Yang who did it. But now that it's not Yang, now what do I do? Like I want to hate you, but now I can't. So yeah, uh, and then more stuff happens. I can't remember, but Closer eventually, um, finds some stuff out, and so Uta is on her way home to, well, not on her way home. She's on her way to meet Mozu, at the coroner's office, I believe, or somewhere, and she comes across a car. See, this is where I really got upset with her. So she sees somebody like pulled over. I think it's like near like a construction area. So basically it's like pretty empty. Um and I'm like, okay, like does it look like their car is having problems? Why are you just stopping to talk to them? And so obviously she gets out of her car, goes over to talk to them like, hey, is everything okay? Is there anything I can help with? Because god damn, she has no self-preservation. And obviously, and rightfully so, she gets knocked out and kidnapped. And obviously, it becomes obvious that she was kidnapped by Closer, who, guys, remember when I was talking about Scarecrow's route and the hitman that was hired um to like protect the secrets in the academy, which I know I didn't really fully go into, but that's basically the whole Scarecrow being thrown into the water, the fish tank thing, and him like going into like his little protection mode where he like starts to like fight back and whatnot. Um, and also the person who was with his father at the time. So yeah, that person is Closer. So I'm like, oh wait, what? And then I was like, wait, that does make sense, cause um I think back in Scarecrow's route, Shu mentioned that they possibly hired a hitman, but obviously I didn't remember that because God forbid I remember anything. Um, and then obviously I remembered him from when he was with Scarecrow's dad and was like threatening to like end them and stuff like that. They didn't get the hell out. Actually, now that I think about it, she was there both times that Closer appeared in Scarecrow's room. It was it was ordained. It was meant to be. um, but yeah. So when I literally found out that Closer was that person back in Scarecrow's room, I was like, ooh. And so then, um, Closer's modus operandi is basically um they threaten the target's family, and then they say either you off yourself or I get rid of your family. And most of the time, um, the people do off themselves. But it doesn't really matter in the end because Closer ends up killing the family as well. So it's like, yeah. And so that's the kind of thing he was doing here. So obviously he kidnapped Tuta and threatened Shu, saying it's either you or her. Obviously, at that point, her and Shu have feelings for each other, so Shu's like, okay, fine. But again, Shu also has his friends, and at first it's not obvious that they devised a plan, but they did devise one, and it was actually Helvetica disguised as Shu, um, who pretended to, off himself. And I ended up getting both endings. Because I was like, you know what? I just want to see what happens if I, like, try to break free. She ends up dying. And I was like, oh my god. Finally! No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding about kidding. I was actually a little bit happy that she did die, but like I said, it was a buildup of her just doing so many dumb decisions. I was like, you know what? Yes, you deserve it this one time. Um, but yeah, so she ends up dying, and obviously everybody close to her is in hysterics, and I mean weeks later, because they're like, it's been weeks, we haven't heard or seen her, and everybody's just worried. But um, at the time, it didn't really make sense to me. But she eventually hunted closer down, and oh boy, oh boy, he was pissed. Like he was making him suffer. Like he would go like pa pa. He's like, oh, you're still moving, and then he'd like add more holes into him, and I'm like, oh my god, goddamn. Like he was torturing the hell out of that dude. So yeah. But then once you do the good ending, it becomes obvious, uh what happened. So it technically turns out that Shu and Yang are there, where Closer is keeping Teuta. So thinking about it from that perspective and watching like her try to break free and run away and then seeing Closer kill her, the bad ending makes sense now. Why he was hunting him and knew where he might possibly be, and also why nobody could get in touch with Shu. Um, so yeah, obviously in the good ending, she lives, Closer dies. Uh, and then she goes on to say, Kyoto, I mean, she goes on to say, hey Yang, are you actually a girl? And I'm like, huh? Huh? Now, we never did get an answer to that, but considering she asked, I'm guessing it's true. So it turns out that Yang is actually a lady. A very pretty lady, I will say that. And another plot twist. So, Shu did mention that there was a last page to the notebook that Teach left, and there was also a picture in it that got torn out. Obviously, Yang had it, and Yang finally returns it to him, and it is revealed that Shu was not the child adopted into the family, it was Yang, and Teach was actually his mother. And I'm like, oh no, No, that makes it even worse. I'm like, oh my god. But I believe um Yang thought it was better that way. That he didn't know that it was actually his mother who died. It's like imagine that. Imagine that. Knowing it was your mom and thinking it was somebody closest to you that like enraged you more than anything in the entire world. So yeah, she was definitely enjoyable. I don't know why it says his foster parents. Um, because he only ever mentioned one legal guardian, which was Teach. So maybe it's like a typo. I don't know. So yeah, that was all the roots. um, I know some of them I probably like skipped like a whole bunch of stuff that might have been like important or interesting to mention, but again, it's been a while. I say a while, like it has been like only 2 weeks, but yeah, they're all fun in their own way to go through. Still, not the biggest fan that Hilda and decided to make some very questionable choices. Oh man. Now, again, to rank their roots in terms of like enjoyment I got, let me write it down. So I have to actually think about it again. Let's see. So yeah, like I said, Shu and Helvetica's are like battling for first right now because they're like really good. Uh, I think I'll put Shu first and then Helvetica second, even though he's not my favorite. Uh, I feel like this might just be personal bias because, as you guys know, I do really like Mozu. So I'm thinking of putting Mozu at third because I mean I did enjoy it a lot, even though it's just simply like trying to figure out what happened to his sister. Which then leaves like Scarecrow in limbo. I'm really trying to think. Who's did I have more fun with? Hmm. I would have to say Scarecrow. I'm sorry, Limbo. I know I like really hold you, but I mean, revenge story, really? You couldn't come up with anything better? A revenge story? But like I said, this is not to say that any route is worse than the other. It's not. This is just my personal enjoyment of them. So just to reiterate it again, from most to least enjoyed, Shu at number one, Helvetica at two, Mozu three, Scarecrow four, and Limbo five. Um. So yeah. I also know that I didn't really talk about um Tota's friends more. So obviously this is Tota. Um, this is Valerie, Limbo's sister, and this is Carmen, the lady I was talking about who owns the restaurant that they frequent. And they are the two that came over for the pool party. And then the best friend who I said got rescued, well not rescued, but basically the best friend who was shot by her superior is Luca right here. Luca is a police officer, so that's why it makes a little bit more sense now that her superior would be like, I gotta keep her quiet, and how he just readily had access to a gun. Um, so yeah, she's the one who ends up getting shot in chapter 3. Yeah. And then this is her other best friend, Adam. I'll be honest, not really too sure about Adam's role. Like, I guess he was more of like a side character, like, no, not even a side character, like a side character than like a side character best friend. And I guess you can chalk it up partly because he was very busy. I mean, not saying that Luca isn't, but um, Adam is a news anchor, I believe, a very popular one, and obviously everybody really loves him because of course they do. So yeah, he's constantly working. Obviously, so is Luca, but um, Luca and Teuta run into each other more often because again, Teuta is a freelance journalist, and obviously, if she wants some info about cases and whatnot, Luca would probably like give her what she can, obviously without going against protocol. Yeah, these are just some other screenshots from the game. Yes, they do end up they do end up adopting in a cat, but only because like the cat ended up somehow getting into the bag that Luca brought with her from Toguta's old place. Oh yeah, that's I didn't even explain how they moved in. They all moved in together. Yes, Toguta moved in with the five guys. Well, only because one, they had to like they all wanted to keep an eye on her to make sure that she's not like a spy or anything. And two, because her place ends up collapsing and she has no place to go. And she hadn't moved into her new place yet. Uh Now it's a little bit blurry whether she moves out or not, or she ends up continuing living with the guys. I think it's the latter. But yeah, so she never ends up moving into the new place she intended to go to. The cat was really cute though. And that was like another aspect of the game as well. Like depending on which route you were on, the cat would respond to a different name. So all of them obviously had different names for the cat. Mozu called it Anna because he said that famous actress I believe in their game said that she had a similar facial structure to the cat. I'm like, what? I mean, yeah, that's like one of the wild things he ends up saying. Um, well, he pulled Anna from Anastasia, which is the name of the actress. But yeah, I was like, you're saying this cat has the same facial structure as a human being? Bro, what? Um, Limbo ends up calling it Max, and everybody's like, that's such a dog name. And it makes sense because he did have dogs most of his life, so he probably only knows good dog names. Um, Shu calls it cat because that's a very Shu thing to do. Uh, Scarecrow ends up calling it Ginger after a comic book hero, and Helvetica decides to name it after the MC. So whatever you name the MC, that's what the cat's name is gonna be. So if you name the MC Poop, the cat's name is gonna be Poop. I don't know why I made that like an example, but I'm just saying like that's what it's gonna be. So yeah, I thought it was really fun, like with the whole cat thing. Like depending on who you're with, the cat's name changes. I mean, the cat is so cute though. Oh my god, I want to pet it now. Like you can't tell me this cat is not cute. And like the cat being together with Mozu makes it even better. I love them so much. That was a lot of yapping. And then obviously, if you want it, you can get it on Steam or Switch. It was really cheap on Steam one time, which is why I have it now. No, cause like I'm serious. When I looked on Steam, it was like, oh yeah, Bustafellows is on sale for $2.99, or was it $1.99? Yeah, $1.99. I was like, huh, $1.99. I might as well grab it. So yeah, that was Bustafellows. Like I said, pretty good visual novel. Yeah, my son, tearing up and burning down, let me be the afterlife. I literally just now realized what song it was. Obviously, you can also get the demo if you just want to try it out, see if you like it. Um, but this is its original price. Honestly, I would always say wait for a sale before buying games, because you never know. You may end up like me and end up getting Busta Fellows for like $1.99. All my friends have this? Oh. Well, I did give one of my friends it, so. So yeah, that was Busta Fellows. I don't know if I will go back and get Helvetica's good ending. Yeah, I really don't know. Maybe, if I really, really feel like it. Why is this showing? What is this? Alright. Now we can actually get to the yapping portion of the stream. What is this? Why is this the first thing I see? What is this? Okay. See, this is what I open up to on Twitter. What is this? Oh my god. See, this is why you can't just open Twitter anymore. Because then you get stuff like this, and it's like, well, this is my day now. But I'm still hoping that I can get a copy of Gensel Menage, because it was pretty fun. Um, I haven't played a visual novel about a traveling amusement park. I'm pretty sure I have like played a visual novel about uh like like characters being like bound to something, if that makes sense. But yeah. Oh my god, I'm so big. Oof. Sorry. My god. Talking about Best of has left me so winded. Should I just end stream? But I kind of don't want to because I want to yap a bit more. But it's like, you can hear it in my voice. It's like, not good right now. You know what? You know what we could do? We could watch a little bit of the season 2 announcement trailer. And it was posted like last year, actually. Yeah, it was actually posted like last year. So I don't know when it's coming out. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to talk about. A criticism I had about Bustafellows. I did not like that they like introduced like this whole thing about Rui Lopez, and then it just went nowhere. Like they just filled you in about some stuff, like oh, there's this, but then like um after like a little bit of like chapter 4, they never touch on it again. Never. I'm like, how are you gonna introduce like this whole big organization, like whatnot, and then just like never elaborate on it? Like imagine my surprise when I was like doing Mosu's route for like in my first playthrough, and um they suddenly tell me, oh yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Here's the epilogue. And I'm like, what? What about Rui Lopez? What about the rest of that stuff? But nope, none of it. So I'm hoping maybe that Bustafellows 2 actually, bothers to like um dig further into Rui Lopez. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna be really pissed. 'Cause it's like, how are you gonna introduce this thing and then like never talk about it again? You know? Whoa, who was that? Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Who was that? And where can I get a piece of that? Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait. Show him again. Show him again. Who is that? Who is that? Where can I get a piece of that? Can I leave my current partner for him? Oh god. I mean, you can't tell me that this dude does not look good. Oh my god. See, now I need to know what his personality is. I have to know now. Honestly, I don't even care if he's like the stereotypical asshole. I will be at his beck and call. He reminds me of somebody. Oh, I think I know who it is. Reminds me of what was his name? Toa. Hold on, let me look it up. God, right, Toa. Yeah, reminds me of him. That's what it is. Actually, hold on, let me make it bigger. Yeah, reminds me of him. That's probably why. Yeah. Yeah. No, but that's so true though. Yeah, because some people they just say like, well, it depends on the situation, but like in some like real serious situations, choosing not to do anything is just as bad as doing something. Like not choosing to take a stance on something or a side is just as bad. All right, 2025. Oh, okay, it's coming soon then. Since we did just like start it. When did they release this? 7 months ago. What was 7 months ago? Anybody got a calendar? Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's oh fuck. Why can't I find my calendar? There it is. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh fuck. I lost count. I'll have to start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So about July. Really? That means they must have been working on it ever since they released Bustafellows, probably. Well, maybe not ever since, but maybe like a year or two after Bustafellows. So maybe like 2023 they started working on it. Maybe. Hmm. But yeah, I really hope they like actually start leading into Rui Lopez. I really do. Otherwise, I would be really, really pissed. But yeah, like I said, that one dude looked like this guy. I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck? But I guess that happens sometimes. And what is it? What's the word? Um, gaming or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, sometimes things end up looking similar than they actually are. Because I'm pretty sure there was like, actually, if I think about it, hold on. What's his name again? No. Fuck, what was it? Oh, Taiga, right? Because whenever I look at Taiga, he kind of reminds me of somebody from Ensemble Stars a little bit. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just trying to like see stuff that's not there, but like I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Because like they kind of have like the same kind of personality. I think that's the main thing. Like a part of me kind of feels like they just like took the dude's entire personality and just dumped it into this guy. I know that sounds really bad, but that's what it feels like. But then again, it's like maybe it is just me. Maybe I'm just trying to see something that's not there. No, I didn't want to open that. No. Oh, actually, you know what? I should have went back to Steam. A part of me kind of wonders though. Um, what the fuck? Is it not here? Oh, it is. It's just excluded. That's fine. A part of me is starting to wonder though if the headliners is gonna become like the new game of the month game. I mean, I don't because English. Because I know some people have been playing it. Because I know, as you guys know, RDC is my favorite group. They're not YouTubers, obviously. They're less streamers. Um, they played it, and um, and I heard like some people in the VTubing community are playing it. So part of me is just wondering if like this is gonna be the new game of the month thing. I mean, it does look fun. It doesn't look as scary, I guess. How I'm not entirely sure how this is similar to Power Wash, but okay. We okay. Apparently it's similar to Power Wash, guys. I don't know how, but it is. So yeah, headliners does seem interesting. Like don't get me wrong, if I could have, I would have done content warning, but like I just don't do well with like things that are too dark. Now, what I mean by that is like um because like there are times when like the area in a place is like too dark. Like I'm pretty sure you guys have heard me like complain like many times where it's like it's so dark and I can't see. Like I can't stand stuff like that. And content warning is definitely something like that, which is like the main reason. Not the main reason, but like definitely a big reason why I never really wanted to play it. Now, I guess you could also sit there and argue that Lethal Company is kind of the same too. But it's like not always. Like with content warning, it's pretty much always, or at least more than Lethal Company. But then again, it's like I don't play Lethal Company that much either. Not even when it was like the game of the month. Actually, now I kind of want to know what is the game of the month. What is the game that people are streaming the most right now? Uh, what was it again? Yeah, because kind of want to know like what the game of the month is this time. What was it in January? I don't think there was one for January, or there was, and I just didn't notice it. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And speaking of stuff, um, I think I mentioned it earlier. I'm not entirely sure, but I will mention it again. I finally got the stuff I need, so that way I can start doing some arts and crafts on stream. Ugh, I finally got the ooh ow. Finally got the new origami paper. Um, so I will probably like put up the video that I'm looking at so we all can see it and see how poor of a job I'm doing. Um, and yeah, it'll be that. But I think I'll first start off with like a beading stream, which now that I say it aloud sounds kind of bad, but I mean, that's just how it sounds. So yeah, I'll probably slot that in for Monday since we finished Siren's Call. I know, I can't believe Siren's Call's already over. Um, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's more to do with it, but did I not open Steam? Holy, I thought I had Steam open this whole time. Let me just quickly look. Because there's obviously like some achievements I haven't gotten from it. Siren's Call. But I'm also like kind of unsure if I really want to go back and get them. Because they did have like the whole little branching thing, map, whatever, that I could go back to, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to. Maybe I don't want to. So yeah, I'll probably end up just um what is it? Yeah, I'll probably just end up playing other stuff anyway. Oh wait, what am I streaming tomorrow? The hell? Oh yeah, tomorrow is what I was talking about, Gensel Menage. And then on Saturday, more Street Fighter World Tour. Yeah. But yeah, I think I've talked enough. Cause I also kind of do want to get working on my other clips and editing that slow damage video. Guys, I know I say this, but I'm probably not gonna touch them until tomorrow. Cause that's basically how I go at this point. I'm like, oh yeah, I should do this, I should work on this, and then I don't until tomorrow. Well, the next day I should say. But I will try to figure out what I'm going to beat on Monday. Or I could just wing it like I usually do. But whew, yeah. I think I'll end it here. I know I didn't do much yapping, but I think bustafellows did enough for me. Oh yeah, I think there was something else I wanted to mention about bustafellows. I know I did talk about how like it just suddenly abruptly ended and like just went into like epilogue of you having lovey-dovey time with your man, but wasn't there something else? Oh, I can't remember it. God damn it. Maybe looking at it might help. Hold on, let me do that real quick. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yep, nothing comes to mind. Well, whatever it was probably wasn't important. Alright, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow for the rest of Genso Menage. And I still haven't decided what I'm going to do after that. I don't want to start Cinderella Phenomenon. I feel like I need like an entire day for that. Uh, I was thinking like, oh, maybe I can do some Dangan, but I'm like already pretty much finished with it. Um, oh, I could do some more Date with Death Beyond the Bat. I have not put that on the schedule in a while. Whoops. Yeah, I think I might do that. Unless I change my mind like tomorrow and end up doing something different. Like Cyberpunk, I don't know. Or maybe I decide, hey, throw in some more near. Might also end up doing like a simulator. Or I could do some Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I have been getting back into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Groove. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Some Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh no, I do not want to do that. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do tomorrow. I'll probably forget, so If anybody comes to stream tomorrow, feel free to remind me that I did intend to do Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel after against Illuminage. But yeah, with that, I say goodbye, guys, and thank you for hanging out. I know it's later than like my normal streams, but that's what happens when you have obligations. Alright, guys, bye bye. No raid today. I kind of just want to chill out. I also don't realize I've had the music muted this whole time, so. Well,